Hello everyone, so this time I would like to share a video on how to shape pattern pieces. This method is very simple and is useful for creating props or some accessories or shaping a brim of a cap. And I will also show you why this method is not entirely perfect. However, for a very quick result, I think it's a pretty good solution. Here I have prepared just a simple circle with additional thickness just to show you how patterns wrap around arrangement points, and arrangement points is what I will use to shape those pattern pieces. So first of all, what I need is a avatar. So you can have just your regular avatar added, or you can add some simple shape. It doesn't really matter what kind of avatar you have, because I will create these arrangement points myself. So in order to do that, you need to have an avatar in your workspace. So here I added the simple shape. It already has all the arrangement points, but I'm not going to use them. So next step is to go to Avatar and Avatar Editor. And here you can see under Arrangement, Bounding Volume Endpoint, so Arrangement Point. I will delete existing ones so they are not in the way. And I also can hide this avatar. Okay. So first I will create a bounding volume. It looks something like this, and here I will adjust some properties. So the height I will put 40 centimeter, 400 millimeter, and I know that the diameter of this circle is 30 centimeter, so I will match it. And with a gizmo I will move the bounding volume up like this. Next will be to add arrangement point. And here I have to assign this arrangement point to the bounding volume I have here. So just have to change the pen. This is the default name, but of course you can rename it. And here I will not change anything, but in general you can change the position of the arrangement point, whether along the X axis or Y. And you can also change the offset, which I will not change. Okay. And this wrap direction I also don't change. Okay, so my arrangement point is ready. I can switch off seeing the bounding volume, and I just keep the arrangement point. Next step, I will create a pattern piece, and I want the pattern piece to wrap around this circle. So I will measure 0.41 and I will do 40 centimeter. Okay. And then once I put it on the arrangement point, you can see that it wraps around the bounding volume. And if I switch it on, you can see this is basically the result. So because the patterns are wrapping around in like a spiral shape, you can't get a perfectly round circle. So this will always be kind of disadvantage of using this method. However, if you just need to shape a certain part, so you don't need to create like this perfect rounded shape. For example, I will reduce the width by 50% and I will place it again on the arrangement point like this. Of course, here you can already see it's kind of creating distance between the bounding volume. Ideally there would be no difference and it would wrap around perfectly, but it's not happening. So here you can adjust a little bit the offset. For example, I put offset 51, and then I have to move the pattern piece a little bit, and then more or less I can really match the position quite well. So that's basically the process. I usually use it for small pieces that I want to shape, as well as I mentioned before, when I create caps. If I want to create the same exact curve that a real cap that I have has, I do measurements, I do some math, and then I calculate the diameter that I need to create that curve. And then by using this bounding volume and arrangement point, I can perfectly shape the brim of a cap. And for that I will do a separate video on that one. Okay, and from here What you can do, for example, I don't know, you want to create some shelf, or I don't know, I think there are so many ways what you can create with curves like this. For example, I will just show one. So I have these two flat pieces and I will merge them to this curve. So how to do that? Make sure to use the world coordinate gizmo, this one, because it always follows along the X, Y, and Z axis. So no matter from which point you're looking at it, the axes are always staying the same. So that means you can't mess it up and make it like a little bit not straight and stuff. Otherwise, then it will not merge nicely. So this moving along these axes helps you move the pattern piece in completely straight position and direction. And for example, when I want to rotate, if I hold down shift, it sticks to every 45 degrees. So I can precisely rotate it by 90 degrees like this. And now I will move it closer to the point where I want to merge it. So here, and I'm quite close. So I will click on this corner, press F on my keyboard, and now that's the focus point. So that's easier for me. I can zoom in very closely, and at some point as you zoom in, the gizmo disappears. So that's normal. That's what happens. Okay, now I will try to place it as close as possible, like this. Good enough. And now I can merge it, and now I have this curve with kind of extended piece of pattern. And to create something like this without using this method, I think is quite difficult, because you most likely have to simulate the pattern, and in case you simulate this, I think it's very difficult to get a completely straight pattern piece like this. So I think this method might be the method to use in case you want to create something like that. And I will move this one as well. Again, holding down shift, rotate, move along the axis. And once I'm super close, click on the corner, press F, and now I can rotate around this corner. Okay, something like that. And then I can merge it, and here you go. And then maybe I can create some, I don't know, shelf. What could this be? A chair? Yeah, well, anyways, I think you got the point of what I tried to show you. And you can also easily change the height of these patterns. Usually the mesh is not messed up when you just change like the lengths and heights. Usually it's pretty okay. It starts getting messed up when you move points or undo. Well, in this case it didn't get messed up somehow, but I have experience working with this type of shapes that I don't simulate, and I adjust some point positions, and at the end the mesh is kind of messed up, and even if I do undo, it doesn't go back to its initial state. So that's sometimes a bit frustrated. So I usually keep an extra copy of these type of shapes, because you can never know when the mesh is gets messed up in 3D, and then there's no coming back from that because you can't simulate. Okay, and then the next one I will show you the same method, but just in the context of like these glasses, because that's how I created this one. So yeah, here I have my glasses, but I don't have any avatar. So again, add avatar just so that it's there, and then go to avatar editor. I will delete these so they are not in my way. First I need to measure what kind of diameter I need, so 66.4. Okay, first bounding volume, 66.4, 66.4, and then I will do, let's say the same. And here it is on the floor. Also, when rotating the bounding volume, I also use the world coordinate gizmo, and by pressing down shift I can precisely rotate it by 90 degrees. Okay. Can match the position as close as possible. But not always you need to do that, because you can just match the position of the pattern. Okay, add the arrangement point, assign the arrangement point to the bounding volume. Bounding or bounding? I don't know how to say it properly. Anyway, here it is. And the offset, nothing, I don't touch anything here. And then I will create like a little lash. So 85. Let's do 85 and 30. Now reduce particle distance so the shape is nicer. Here it is. Let's put it on the arrangement point. And also, when it comes to arrangement points, it very much depends on how your pattern is positioned in 2D. For example, if I change the position of the pattern like this, it's flipped. Or if it's like this, it's like this. So yeah, just keep in mind, if sometimes it's not wrapping correctly around the bounding volume, then that means you need to change the position in 2D window of the pattern. But when you rotate like this, it doesn't really affect the this thing, what's it called, grain line, I think so. Wait, let me check. Yeah, it doesn't affect it, so you can rotate as much as you want. Okay, so now I placed the pattern piece, I placed the pattern piece on the arrangement point, but as you can see, it's not really matching well, it's too small. So in this case, I would change offset here for the pattern. And then it's not perfect, as you can see. Wait, also make sure it's located where you actually want to put it. Okay. Well, I mean, it is pretty good. It's not terrible. It's quite close. Overall, I think this method is pretty good, and there are plenty of ways how you can use it, and it's very quick and not very complicated, I think. Anyway, this is it for this video. If you have any questions, please let me know. I will try to answer any of the questions you might have. And yeah, thank you for watching. Have a good day. Bye!